My name is Badass Benny and welcome to my channel. If you're an ACE, AMAC, or sex human trafficking survivor, you're in the right place. And it won't cost you a penny to like and subscribe and share worldwide. Today we're going to talk about part 2 for the partners of women sexually abused as children by Joan Spear. How can I help her? And we're going to start with she probably enjoyed the sex too. This is possible. We are all sexual beings, and if we're stimulated in certain places or in certain ways, our bodies may respond whether we want them to or not. This doesn't mean that it's okay to be sexual with someone who's not old enough to give informed consent. And if she did feel turned on in any way, then this has probably only added to her pain, guilt, and confusion. Why do I have to keep paying for someone else's mistakes? She's been talking about the abuse ever since I first met her. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Until she gets help with the problem and works on changing her attitudes and beliefs, it will continue to interfere with her life, sometimes without her even knowing it. How long will it take? She's been in a support group for 2 years now. It will take as long as it takes. Healing can take a lifetime. This depends on the person. There are a great number of issues that need to be dealt with, such as anger, guilt, denial, low self-esteem, poor body image, fear of not being in control, lack of trust, inability to know what she feels, and difficulty in talking about feelings, to name a few. In short, the main messages children get in abusive or other types of dysfunctional families are don't trust, don't talk, don't feel. All three need to be reversed in order for her to lead a healthy adult life. Couldn't she just talk to me? I resent her for telling other people our family business. You are too close to your partner to be her therapist too. However, your support and concern are very important to her. Whenever she talks about her stepfather, I feel like getting a gun and shooting him. This is understandable, but it's not helpful to express this feeling to your partner. She has her own anger to deal with. It is distracting and non-productive if she feels she has to calm you down on an ongoing basis. If you need to express your outrage continually, then it might be important to find a friend or a counselor who will listen to your concerns. Sometimes I just cry whenever she recalls a memory to me. This is another reason that it's wise for you not to try to be her therapist. The memories are so highly charged that they require someone who has been trained or someone who has worked through a similar experience to deal with this effectively. And this is why I have my channel. I've been through a lot of experiences and worked through a lot of my experiences. And so this is my way of giving back. Don't turn off your tears, but also don't be surprised if she prefers telling the details to her counselor or therapy group members. Your crying may be beneficial to both of you in terms of releasing emotion for you and providing empathy for her, but she may stop sharing her memories with you as a way of protecting you from pain. How long is this going to be the focus of her life? It seems that she doesn't respond to everyday conversation these days. Once again, this can be predicted. If she has spent 10, 20, or 30 years pretending to herself that a major event in her life didn't happen, then it will take some time to bring all of it to consciousness, to digest it, to come to terms with it, and then to get on with the business of living. She may very well stop in time for a while. However, she has actually been stuck. People are stuck in victim mode, and that could be for decades. There for a long time, and that's caused some of the problems in your relationship. That's why there's a lot of divorces. Or statistics say AMAC survivors get married a lot, divorce if they don't work on their stuff. If the sexual abuse was so devastating, why has she been so promiscuous all her life? She seems very sexual to me. Well, abuse often causes a great deal of confusion between affection and sex. The reason for being promiscuous is not necessarily because one enjoys sex. In fact, the opposite is more often true. Some women use their sexual partners in the same way that they were used as children, and sex becomes a way of getting back at the perpetrator. Some women are simply repeating what they learned as children. The only way to get any attention at all is to be sexual. When was the last time, what's the earliest stage you ever remember being sexual? How old? So some women are simply repeating what they learned as children. So many just want to cuddle but feel that intercourse is the price they have to pay. Sometimes being sexual is a way of trying to avoid painful feelings. A kind of quick fix. Hookups, things like that. Many abused women misuse alcohol and other drugs in the same way. So my wife will hardly let me touch her, even in an affectionate way. This is another reaction that a sexually abused woman often has, even though the abuse may have stopped 20, 30 years ago. The little girl inside of her is still scared. Automatically, her defense against being hurt go into effect. Any number of things can remind her of long ago, and some women can't bear to be surprised from behind. Others react negatively to an unexpected hug, and some don't like to have their breasts touched. If this is the case, then may they pay attention to what she asks you not to do. So then pay attention to what she asks you not to do. My lover always needs to be in control. She decides when we're going to have sex and how we're going to do it. This is understandable. Control is a big issue for survivors of sexual assault. As little girls, they had no control over what happened to their bodies. As adults, they need to have a sense of control in order not to panic. But I have always been gentle with her and not the least bit abusive. How wonderful. She's lucky to have you. Your caring and concern are certainly helpful. However, there are many times when she doesn't see you as you. She's flipped back in time and sees someone else's face instead of yours. She may need to stop whenever you are doing together. Stop whatever you're doing altogether so she can get back to the present. They call that disassociation. Sometimes it seems as though she isn't even there when we have sex. This is probably an accurate description. Often the only way a child can survive sexual abuse emotionally is by pretending she wasn't there. Or dead. Pretending you're dead. Women describe it as going numb. It is a protective device that is difficult to stop. As she gains trust and is more relaxed in sexual situations, she will slowly be able to be there with you. My partner was abused by her aunt and her mother. Has this made her a lesbian? No. Sexual orientation is not determined by the sex of your perpetrator. Since many children have been molested by both men and women, their sexual preference as adults cannot be attributed to the sex of the offender. And this is the same that goes for transgendered children, okay? Or men. This hits transgender children, AMAC survivors, and adults, and gay men, and cis men. However, but we're talking about women here, and let's give respect, and that's what I'm doing. And a lot of women, I'm going to tell you, they find that having a man counselor helps them overcome that. Not all men are rapists. Whatever the sex of the perpetrator, sexual confusion or lack of sexual interest is often present in women who are sexually abused as children. This will probably continue until the abuse issues are dealt with and resolved. Now, I had a client that was 48. She came into an art workshop. The last time she was sexually abused by her father, incest, was age 28. What can I do to help? Be patient and believe her. Be as understanding as you can be. Don't push. Don't push sex. Work on clear communication skills. Be as non-judgmental as you can about her healing process. She will progress at her own pace no matter what you think or say. So save yourself some arguments and heartaches. If you can't stand it, find a therapist to talk to, or join a group for partners of abused women. If there's no such group in your community, find a therapist who will be willing to form one. What about me? I have needs too. Indeed, you do have needs. But if you can't focus on her needs for the time being, it will pay off in the long run. There will be days, maybe even weeks, when she's feeling so emotionally raw that the thought of being sexually intimate would be like a woman insisting on sexual intercourse with a man right after he has an operation to remove the foreskin from his penis. So be patient. This feeling of rawness often occurs the same day or after she has seen her counselor or attended a group session, or even a flashback. It is not a signal for her to stop going to therapy. It's a positive sign that she's dealing with her problems. It is a sign of hope for the future. Perhaps I'm the abuser too. If so, run, don't walk to the nearest professional counselor. If you do not get help, don't be surprised if your partner decides to leave you at some point in her healing process. This is not a threat, but rather a fact. It is not common for women who were abused as children to choose a relationship with an abusive man or woman because it is a familiar situation to be in. Sometimes it's because they feel they don't deserve anything better. As their self-esteem rises, however, they may wish to make changes in their entire lifestyle. If you are unable to change accordingly, you may be left behind. But I was abused as a child myself. This is often the case. If you were abused too, then there is even more reason for you to get the same kind of help your partner's getting. And that happens. There's nothing more exciting than two people who are becoming healthier together. So, I'm going to ask you, what are you doing to take care of yourself today? Drinking water, eating good food, walking. Some people even say, I'm going to go home and smoke a joint. Whatever you got to do to get back at your center and talk to your therapist, talk to your sponsor. You have those kind of issues, and remember you're worthy of the work that you're doing, okay? And know that you're loved if no one's told you today.